Hey guys, Sarah with Bricksville. So today we're going to be reviewing set number 75827. This was originally available from January 2016 to December 2018 and sold for $349.99, so basically $350. Now, if you want to get your hands on it, it's about $1,000 new and sealed, which is a pretty steep ask. And then used and complete similar to this set, it's around $800. So we're going to see today, is the set worth what it costs to get now or not? Now, I wanted to get the best opinion possible, so I actually bought it new and built it myself because I wanted to see the build experience and just kind of how the story came together and give you the best opinion. So let's check it out.
So first we'll start off with the box. It is very large, as you saw in the other one, and that actually brings me to my first kind of complaint. The cardboard doesn't seem to be thick enough. So if you're an in-box collector, it tends to bow out just from the sheer weight of the parts inside of it. They did do one box inside, I think, to try to help with that. But most of the ones that I have seen, new sealed, are kind of bowed out. The one that I have kind of behind this is the best one. That's why I kind of kept it for the store for new sealed. But that is something to look out for. That's not going to be listed in a lot of places. But the artwork on the front is amazing. Kind of goes back to Ghostbusters 1, although there are some other characters in here, but there's 12 total minifigures, which we'll get into later. And then on these both sides and the back, it kind of shows where it's opening up, and you can kind of see the scene inside. And yeah, it definitely grabs you. So I will say that. The minifig selection in this set is incredible. Both the number 12, but then also just how they did them. So from left to right, we have Dana and Tully. I don't want to call them the bad guys, but they were the unwilling antagonists. But you actually get a second head with Tully, and hair. And then you can also have him kind of when he was strapped in. Then you have the four Ghostbusters. You have Venkman, you have Stance, Spangler, and Zeddemore. And then we have their secretary who keeps them in line, Janine. And then you have, of course, Slimer. And then two generic ghosts, pink ghost, blue ghost. So those ones are cool because they have a clear minifig headpiece underneath. So you can post them pretty much anywhere. You could put them on a body, but I'm not sure why you would. But then you have the librarian, which the cool part of her is they give an extra hairpiece so that when she's just kind of calmed down and not acting out, she has her pulled back hair. And then when you can flip it to the angry side, but then it has the frazzled out hair as well. So that was a really good thing that they didn't have to include. And then finally, you have the taxi driver ghost, which he was only in one scene briefly when kind of everything broke loose, but it was a pretty cool fig. I like the headpiece for kind of zombie mocks, but I think I'd keep him with this Firehouse. I wanted to do a little bit more on the Ghostbusters minifigs. So the Proton packs have a nice printed piece on the back and do a pretty decent job of kind of showing that off. However, as you can see from one of them kind of leaning forward, it is so heavy on the minifig that if they're not on studs or don't have something in their hands to kind of lean against the ground, they need to lean forward significantly so that they don't fall over. Now, most of the time, minifigs are on studs anyways, so this isn't going to matter too much, but if you're kind of configuring them in somewhere that it doesn't have studs, it's just on a tile, they got to lean forward pretty far. I think that if they made the Proton pack just a little bit lower so that it would touch the ground if they leaned back, would probably be better, but eh. And then the arms have pretty nice printing with both the elbow and the upper arm. The torsos are accurate, and then you have different initials for each Ghostbuster. Now, Venkman has the slimed face and the not slimed face, but his torso is always slimed. So it would have been nice with them throwing in the extra head and the extra hair for the other minifigs that they could have thrown in an extra non-slimed torso. But I know that's also asking a lot, but at a $350 set back then, and what they were doing, I would have rather had an extra torso for Venkman than an extra hairpiece or an extra even head for the other figs, but I'm just being picky. The outside of the Firehouse is actually incredibly accurate to the one. Now there are some little differences, like things like there's no water tower on the top. The little antler piece that they use to do the kind of gold accent over the door, that's not really the shape, but I mean it gets it across, and it's accurate while still sticking within the system of Lego without making a bunch of new pieces that would never be used for anything except for this. But nobody could look at this thing and not say, oh, that's the Ghostbusters Firehouse. One of the things that I saw while researching is if you look at pictures of the firehouse now, you're going to see red doors, while this set comes with black. It actually originally in the movie and before a recent renovation were black, but they changed them to red. So that actually is accurate to the movie. But it is 3 stories tall and includes a lot of references to a lot of different pieces. Actually, along the side, you have where when the containment failed, you have it bursting up through the ground, all the ghosts that are going to fly out. And then they have this incredible traffic light that's built using a bent like hose piece and kind of sticks out from the model. So if you were to build this into your city, it kind of sticks out over that for the other cross section. They also did a cute little garbage can just using the little grate pieces to stick up. It does need adjustment a lot. It does get knocked over because it's just on 1x1 stud, but it's a pretty cool feature. Now the ghosts can kind of hang out on the side of the building, and these little sticks can be placed wherever you want. And then you would just replace or take out, whichever one you wanted, any of the 1x1 tiles. And then that allows you to position them wherever really that you'd like. I really like this brick detailing because it kind of takes inspiration from the original Firehouse they did, but is also it's simpler on the outside because that one had the red tiles as well, whereas this one just keeps the red as bricks, which with the natural change in the red color that Lego constantly does actually gives like little different hues that helps them kind of look like, almost realistic bricks, and then the gray sticking out. Now for the other side of the building and the back, this side is where it kind of opens up that we'll see later, but it has kind of fire escapes all the way down. Now the back, it requires some care in where you place it because they gave absolutely no thought to the color of the pieces on the back. So if you're going to place this in your city, you have to put this against something else. Otherwise, you're going to see these exposed empty block spaces here, colors that don't match all the way down. So this does limit where you can place it within a city. However, if you're putting it up against a bookcase or really anything, all of the views are going to be from the front or the sides, not the back. So the only thing I could think of this being an issue is that city placement. Now this set opens up from the side. It's actually locked at the top with what looks like an air conditioner, but you open this. Now each floor is actually built separately and comes apart, but I don't really know why they did that because you're never really going to do that the way that they built this. You could take each individual floor off, but why would you do that when you can open it up and see every single detail? Also, the left one swings all the way over. This one gets locked at about 90 degrees, which I wish they had redesigned it all the way to the corner, which is why the back one can do that. The hinge point is at the corner, whereas the right door, the hinge plate is in the center, or kind of the corner-ish, but not right at the corner. So it does shift your angle a little bit to the left, but everything is accessible, everything is open. There's not really any reason to take the floors off. So one of our good friends, Riley, actually lent us their Ecto 1. So this was sold as a separate set, the Ecto 1. It did come with the 4 Ghostbusters, but this isn't really a review of the Ecto 1, but to point out that it doesn't come with this set. You don't get an Ecto 1, you'd have to buy that separately, which a lot of people complained about at the time, kind of with good reason. But the way it's positioned here is kind of sticking out. It's a great place to store it. It definitely goes with it, but it doesn't actually fit inside. There is this box placement here, which I think is actually purposefully designed to stop it from going any further back and to get that perfect placement, but you can't fully park it in. If you were to try, like let's say you were to redesign it and take that out, to actually get it in and over that, you would have to move this desk as well, and probably some of this wall, just to be able to get it in and have the doors closed. And seeing how the doors close in, you would probably actually have to come even further back. So while they did give some thought on how to like pose it there, it actually does not fit inside of the garage, which I don't know if I just missed the message, but I was under the impression when I first bought this that it did fit in there. So yeah, it does not, but it does. It is designed to pose in there very nicely. So now that I moved the Ecto one out, here we are in the first floor. So I love the kind of little details on her desk where you have the computer, the phone, kind of some little plants. You have the garage parts over here and the alarm. Now this is not, and this kind of goes to a lot of things. It's not accurate to the layout of what the firehouse would have been because the garage wasn't directly in front of her desk, but it works. Now they do have a brick magazine instead of a Times magazine with the 3 Ghostbusters from the first movie on the cover. And then we've got a pegboard in the back. Now over in the part that folds out is where they send the ghosts down to containment. Now this was originally in the basement in the movie, but again, there isn't gonna be a basement in this, so this is a great place to put it. But you have here where it swings down, goes up, and then goes to containment, and then the green light would light up. Then on the other wall that opens up is the bottom of the fireman's pole that I'll show off later, but then the lockers for the 3 original Ghostbusters. And then these lockers are actually deep enough because of the double wall. Now most of the set is actually double walls, so you get a different impact on the inside versus the outside. But with these, it's actually deep enough that you can fit the proton packs into the walls. So now we're going to move on to the second floor, but before I do that, the staircase actually goes all the way up. So I'm just going to cover that real quick. But it's actually continuous, so you can put minifigs anywhere on there. But now for the second floor, the kitchen itself were pretty neat builds. The part I liked the best was actually the sink because it's built in, and then you've got pizza and cereal and just kind of everything through the kitchen. Now the fridge opens up and it has pizzas in both sides, which is very New Yorker. And then you've got kind of stuff on the fridge in there. Now on the table here, you have, when they were testing out the slime that they got in Ghostbusters 2, they put it inside of a toaster and it was hopping around. So they did this here where it's spilling around, and then you have the original jar, and then you have a carpet under there. They have a fireplace here, which is very open flame for a firehouse. There's kind of no safety there. And actually, even the Home Alone house that we just did had an open flame in the bedroom. So Lego is not promoting fire safety. But you've got a Ghostbusters pinball machine, which this would go really good in a lot of different mocks. I know that those are really desirable. But then you've got the bedroom here with 3 beds. So a lot of this stuff, it's kind of geared towards 3 people. So it looks like they're just doing the 3 original Ghostbusters. They didn't include the 4th, but in the layout choices. You have the big panel windows, and then you have even some pipes over here, which the bathroom splits a little bit. But then you have a very disgustingly overflowing toilet. It looks like it's eating through the tiles. So then you have, it looks like an old style pull chain toilet, which I really liked how they did this build throughout. And then you've got the shower with the hot and cold tap. You got a little sponge loofah on the ground. And then over here, you've got a little floor, which is inaccessible from the second floor, but actually opens up everything for the fire pole, which I'll show in a little bit. Both the second and third floor kind of forcing me to do this kind of shaky cam type thing because just getting into all these angles is a little bit tough. But they got another brick magazine in there, a reference to in Ghostbusters 1 when they turn into the dogs, the two kind of reluctant antagonists. And then you've got a dartboard, but then they actually put a feather as a dart stuck in the wall. So apparently they're not good at darts. Then you've got the computer over there, the little supercomputer, quote unquote, for the 80s at least. Then you've got the pool table, which I really like the way that they did this. The pockets are a little big, but it was a nice, fun, easy little build. Definitely something that I'd throw into my other builds. Both floors have these lamps on there, and then the big picture windows. Now this one has some other, I thought they were towels in the beginning, but then it actually goes into a lab, the lab that they worked in for Ghostbusters 2, where the picture started on fire, and there's the magnifying glass, the camera, I mean, just kind of everything from that scene. Now, I don't know why they would have that directly with no wall next to the pool table. Definitely isn't the layout from the movie, but honestly, once you open this up, it feels like a different room anyways. Then you have a door through here, and then that leads to the fire pole, which I'll kind of set this up and show you in a second. All right, so I have stands attached to the fire pole. So the way this works is it has two frictionless pins, one at the top and one at the bottom, so that you can just pull directly up and then the pole will spin. But then once you let the minifig go, they'll actually spin around. So I like that they did that, because if you had put something more firm, you would have actually had to, either one of two things. It would have had to do a new piece, which it would have just slammed down, or you would have had to wind it up, but instead, all you have to do is just pull directly up. The pole will spin, you let go, and the Ghostbusters will spin. So now, obviously, spinning around the pole is not accurate to how you would go down a fire pole, but I think it would be really unsatisfactory if you just dropped it and it was just clunked down. So I like this in the way of what this is actually for, playing with. So that is definitely a better choice. So a few things to note on this, and kind of some complaints. This was right in the bad years for dark red, and it doesn't show as much on camera as I'd like, but every single one of these long slope pieces cracked on both sides, every single one after the other. And that was really frustrating when building. Now, I can replace these, and I probably will, but it's just, for a company of this caliber, that shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't have happened for as long as it did. But it did. So that's something to realize, that when you get this, it is in the bad years for dark red, where they do crack like that. However, the fix is not that bad, and if it's a piece that Lego still makes, you can call them and they will send you out replacements. But if it's a mold that they no longer make, you can go to Bricklink, which we have a lot of parts in our store, but it can get expensive and frustrating. So now these ones, luckily, every dark red piece in this set that I know of is still available. So that's definitely still something that could be fixed. The other thing is the roof. It is only held on by studs here and there, and every time I adjust the plates so that their fit is sitting flat and I take it back off, they shift again. So I'm only able to get this to stand straight for very short periods of time. So they should have actually done a little bit more holding on there, but it does work. You just have to kind of readjust it each time. Plus the doors, they end up hitting the bottom plate and then sagging. I would have wished that they had just abandoned the each floor option and just done it as one solid door with more hinges so that it would be more secure. Overall, I like this set. It is a high ask at $1,000, but the minifig selection is almost uncompared, and the build factor, I really enjoyed this build. I did it over about 6 hours on nights, and even after going home from working with Lego all day long, I looked forward to getting home to be able to build a little bit more of it. So the build, it was amazing.
So if that's what you're really looking for, I think this set will do it. However, it does have some downsides of the dark red breaking, just the kind of the doors shifting constantly, the top. So there's definitely some issues with this set that can't be ignored. However, at 350, I would have bought it all day, every day, and I definitely would have recommended it. I feel bad that more people didn't get it. However, at $1,000, it's definitely a more specialty one. But if you're a huge Ghostbusters fan, I don't think there's any replacement for this. There isn't kind of any mock that you could make at any more reasonable price that would get you what this gets you. I do wish that they had included the Ecto one, which people said at the time and people say now, but realistically that would have raised the price of the set even more. And doing it the way with having one play set with the Ecto one allowed the majority of the people to afford what was, what most people loved, the car, the Ghostbusters, and then having this one allowed it to expand what you do. Most people who bought this set would have already had the Ecto one anyways, and so that's my opinion on that. But I definitely recommend, if you're able to, picking this up. I think it's a great value, but it is obviously less of a value than when it was first new. But that's the reality of retired Lego. But thank you for joining us today. We're going to be doing a Ghost week almost. So we got the Ghostbusters now, and then we're going to do the Star Wars Rebels Ghost ship. So stay tuned for that one, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can see everything from our channel. So hope to see you next time. Thanks.